Hi, my name's Cathy Skipper. I'm a menopause midwife. Welcome to my channel, The Alchemy of Menopause. In this video, I want to talk about menopause and the human psyche and why I believe we're doing women a misservice by only concentrating on the physical aspects of menopause and not being aware that it's much more of ourselves that goes through menopause. So let's just begin by, let me very succinctly describe the human psyche. So the human psyche is made up of our physical bodies. It's all of us, our physical bodies, the place where our emotions take seed. I call that our emotional body, but it's our emotional self. Our minds and our mental body, which is where our ability to analyze, to think, to memorize, to have memories. Our spiritual body, which is a much sort of subtler but larger part of the human psyche that really is like a bridge and connects us to the collective. So we're not going to go into detail about all this now. I just wanted you to be aware of how much more there is to us than we generally allow ourselves to think. And within all of the human psyche that I've just described, parts of our physical self, our emotional self, our mental self, and our spiritual self, we're very aware of. But there are other parts that are in the unconscious or in the shadow. Even in our physical body, we can't see our livers. They're getting on with their work. We don't know how they're doing that. It's sort of in the unconscious. And the same with some of our emotions we're aware of. Some of them are in the unconscious, etc., etc. So the psyche, like all the other isolated systems in the human organism, is always looking for homeostasis. So if you took the digestive system, for example, we're eating food 3 times a day perhaps, and the digestive system is always digesting and trying to find a balance in that, taking what's needed, getting rid of what's not, etc. Well, the psyche as a whole is always looking for balance, and I think this is the key when we're talking about menopause. So in the mainstream and in the current sort of conversation about menopause, there is a huge emphasis on the physical changes that women are going through in menopause and the aging process. There's a sort of emphasis on decline and stopping that decline and relieving symptoms. So we're really looking at the physical body. However, there's much more. As I just said, there's much more to us than the physical body. And, the other aspect that we're aware of, I think, more in menopause, and women do complain about, their memory isn't so good as it used to be. They haven't got the same cognitive speed. And then women think, oh yeah, I am declining. I can't think like I used to. But I want to offer a different perspective. Okay, so that's the physical body and the emotional body. But what comes to the forefront, the body's aging. We can't get away from that. That's part of the natural cycle of life. The mind, which is a very, in men and women, it is really associated with the masculine principle. It's linear. It's a great servant and an absolutely terrible master. We could talk about that in more detail. I think it's one of the problems in humanity. But these two aspects are changing. They've been very much important for women: our bodies, our attractiveness, our sexuality, our sensuality, our birthing, our fertility, and our minds, keeping up with men in the workplace, in careers, in equal rights, etc. But what actually comes to the forefront, if we allow menopause to take its natural cycle and women are supported in a good way, are the emotional and spiritual aspects of the psyche. It's not that we're just declining, it's just that other parts of us are coming forward looking for this homeostasis or balance that I was talking about. And this is key. In the 10 years that I've been working with women in perimenopause, these aspects, when women realize that there is so much more to themselves and the emotional and spiritual parts of the psyche are here to help and support and guide and enlighten, it's a huge, empowering and beautiful insight. So menopause in my experience, is a wise woman initiation. And if we don't honor and allow the emotional and spiritual aspects of the psyche to come to the forefront, if we don't have information for women, guidance for women, menopause midwives who've been there themselves, who know about the spiritual initiation of menopause to support and help and show women the roadmap, then we're doing women a huge disservice. So what I wanted to offer you in this short video is a way of working, first of all, with the emotional body. So it's very, very important at menopause not to suppress all these feelings that come up. Many women say, I'm crying more, don't know what's happening, all these deep emotions are coming up. And so often they're given antidepressants or things to suppress them, or HRT to make it go away. No, it's not about making these things go away. They're coming up because they're meant to be coming up. They're coming up because they've got stuff to show us. They're coming up because they're saying you're ready to heal this. I always loved, it's a bit of a cliche, but the little phrase, to feel is to heal. When this stuff was coming up for me at my big crossroads of menopause, I used to tell myself, I had to retrain myself to allow the feeling to come up, to learn that to feel is to heal, to honor my feelings, because all a feeling really wants is to be felt. So these deep and often much more occurring feelings that come up at menopause are meant to be here. And we need to teach women not to repress them, not to take antidepressants, not to think there's something wrong with themselves, but to honor these feelings, to work with them, to see them as gifts. And the other thing is, I think I read the other day, a feeling takes about 90 seconds to be felt, but we can spend 20 years of our life repressing a difficult feeling. And all that creative energy that's put into repressing it, when actually in the right setting with the right guidance, just feeling a feeling can take 90 seconds, and that feeling, it's like an onion, that layer of the onion has been peeled away. So what I suggest in the next few minutes of this video is that I could lead you through a exercise that helps to dissolve or feel these emotions or feelings that are coming up. It's a practice, and dissolving means sort of honoring something so it can actually work its way through, or just, once a feeling is felt, then it sort of dissipates, it dissolves. So take a moment to put yourself in a comfy position. Make sure you're not going to be disturbed. You can put this video on hold and then come back to it when you're ready. If you've had enough, you can switch it off now and not do this exercise. But if you want to start a very simple practice of honoring these feelings that are coming up in a way that's positive and will benefit you as you go through menopause, then here we are. Okay, so it's a very simple practice. And it's about first of all, finding out where you're experiencing any emotional pain or feelings, and then bringing our sustained attention to that. So get comfy. Take a moment to drop into the physical body. We've been talking, you've been listening to this video in our minds, thinking about things. So now just drop down into the physical body. And I always love that feeling. When I drop down, I drop into my womb space, I sort of nestle into that cave-like space as if I'm coming home, that creative feminine center. So take a moment to drop in. Bring your attention down into that womb space. And you can even imagine there's a little hearth with a fire. The fire's just the right temperature. It's not burning you up, and it's warm enough to keep the internal hearth fire glowing. And there's some nice comfy sheepskin rugs or other rugs and cushions, and you're comfy in there. Often our sexual organs sort of tweak when we drop into the womb space, as if to say, oh yeah, you're coming home, you're embodying. So once you've taken a moment, a couple of deep breaths maybe, to get yourself comfy, just become aware of where you may be feeling some emotional pain or feeling, some feeling that you've kind of been resisting, or it's sort of there, but you don't know what to do with it. Just take a moment and notice where you feel it in your physical body. Remembering to breathe, just notice, nothing to do, nothing to change, just allow yourself to notice where are you feeling that sensation in the physical body. You could scan your body if you want to, starting in the head Just scanning to see where do those feelings that are coming up during perimenopause for you lodge themselves. Is there one in particular that you want to work on today? See if you can actually pinpoint where that emotion is settled in the physical body, or where it's trying to get your attention. I often feel it behind my face, as if I've got a pressure, or tears that don't want to be completely, you know, they're tears that don't come. But you could feel it maybe in your chest, or your throat, your shoulders, your solar plexus, the heart area. There's no right or wrong. It could be in the pit of your belly. All we're asking you to do is to bring awareness. Remember to breathe. And then once you've located it, you could name it. Give it a name. And notice as you name it, and you bring this awareness to its place in your physical body. Notice what it feels like. You don't need to change it. You don't need to do anything with it. All you're doing is bringing awareness to it. So what does it feel like? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it a pressure? Does it move? Does it feel sad or anxious or fearful or shameful? Or is it an emotion to do with jealousy or guilt or grief or fear? And again, there's never any right or wrong. We're not judging this. We're not doing anything particular with it. We're just honoring it by beholding it. What is the quality or the texture or the signature of this emotion? How do you sense it? How are you feeling it? It might even have a color or a shape or a vibration to it. Texture. And as we're not really brought up often to honor these more challenging emotions, it may not at first feel good. But that's okay. It's not, we're not judging it, so it doesn't matter if it feels good or bad. That's not the question. The question is that we're just willing to open to it, to behold it. We have the courage. This is part of our journey. This is part of our healing. Just to have the courage and, in a way, the objectivity to be able to behold it. We're honoring it. It is your feeling, and you're honoring it by beholding it. Remember to breathe. And don't let your mind get lost in thoughts about the feeling. Don't try and think, where did it come from? What is the story around this pain? Whose fault was it? Why am I feeling it? None of that. Remember, just be in the physical body, quieten the mind. The mind is not helpful in these situations. And it's very difficult to feel, nigh on impossible, I would say, to feel and think. Remember to breathe and just allow. We're noticing feeling, so we don't want our thoughts getting in the way. Let go of any thoughts or memories or projections about this feeling. It doesn't matter at the moment for this exercise what it is, who caused it, or whatever. Remember to breathe. And just allow the feeling to be there. We're not resisting it, which is what many of us often do, or trying to get it to go away. We're just allowing it, accepting it, feeling it, even welcoming it. That's the key. It's so much better to welcome it. All that energy used for maybe years to resist it. Let go of any resistance to it. It's not going to hurt you. You can handle this. And one thing to remember is it's our resistance to emotional pain, our wanting to keep it away, that actually perpetuates it. That's the paradox. When you open to it, allow it, welcome it, let it be felt, it'll go on its way. It'll have fulfilled its purpose. But when you resist it, try to get it down, need medication for it, stop it, it actually makes it worse. What we resist persists. Remember to breathe. And, if you're having any trouble, just open to it. It's very important to have an open space and acceptance and allowing around the feeling. Keep your attention on it. And if your mind wanders, just bring it back to this part of the body where that feeling is. If the feeling's moved, that's fine, move with it. But just very focused on that area where the feeling is. Nothing to do, nothing to change, just allow. And as you do this, notice, has the contracted energy that was originally there with this painful emotional feeling gradually started to let go and relax? How is it changing? In Taoism, they often describe feelings like a block of ice, feelings that aren't felt, that are blocked in the body, like a block of ice or something very rigid and stagnant. The energy is stagnant. Or obstructed, like something's obstructing the energy of the body because it's like a block of ice wherever it is in the body. And so by just bringing your attention to it, beholding it, you're actually melting that ice, or dissolving, as I said in the beginning, that stagnant, rigid energy. There's a sense that something's loosening, that contracted, concentrated, blocked energy is loosening. And the pain then starts to subside. The pain is in the blockage, in the resistance. And there's an openness and a freeing. It's freeing you. This is the real work of dealing with these intense emotions that menopause often offers us. Remember to breathe. You're not even trying to get rid of the emotion. That's a sort of side gift to beholding and feeling it. As you allow it to be there and you bring this awareness, the paradox is that that is what actually gradually melts it or dissolves it. That's why it's so hard often. We don't learn about this. This is the beautiful journey. And there's going to be wisdom and freedom, and you're freeing up creative energy as you allow these blockages to be dissolved just by bringing your awareness to them. And where there was obstruction and stagnation, you'll experience openness and release. So just sit with that, just for a moment, and notice, how has this emotion that you located in your body changed just by bringing this beautiful awareness and loving beholding to your feeling that is valid and just needed and wanted to be honored. If tears come, that's fine too. That's part of the dissolving and the melting away. Remember to breathe. So as you go about your day, remember that little saying, to feel is to heal. Give yourself a couple of minutes. If a feeling, I would often find myself cooking or something, doing an activity, and I'd feel a flutter. Like, when you're pregnant, those women who've been pregnant, when you first feel the baby move, it's like a little butterfly in the stomach. Just a tiny little flutter. And that's what I would feel sometimes, like, oh, there's a flutter of a feeling. And before, I'd have repressed it, gone and carried on doing something, or looked on my phone, or drunk something, or ate something, or, I'd do whatever it needed to stop it coming up anymore. And then I learned, oh no, there's that flutter. That flutter's telling me there's a feeling that really is coming up and wants to be felt. So I just give myself 5 or 10 minutes, switch off what I was cooking, tell everybody I'll be back in a minute, and I'd go and lie down and welcome it. Do this exercise. Only takes a few minutes. And at first, yes, there would be tears. And after a while, it was like, oh wow, here's a feeling. After doing this, pattern for a while, I was excited when a feeling came because I knew what it wanted and I could give it to it, and I would feel better and wiser for having allowed this feeling its rightful place. So remember, don't get stuck just on the physical aspects of menopause. Allow the emotional and spiritual aspects of this amazing journey of becoming a wise woman. Allow these parts to guide you and be honored and accepted. Lots of love.